All right, and welcome into a special bonus schedule release edition of Believe in Panthers here on the Believe Podcast Networks, brought to you by the fine folks over at FanDuel. Desmond Johnson in the house, along with the Panthers' all-time leading rusher, Jonathan Stewart. And just quickly, we're going to get through the schedule release that was released on Thursday night by the NFL. And I got to say, Stu, the NFL has gotten on lock in terms of being talked about year-round. Like, we're in the middle of the NBA playoffs and the Stanley Cup playoffs, and NFL just drops this on a Thursday for everybody to talk about.
NFL is king, dog. You already know what time it is.
It's crazy. So we're not gonna hold y'all really long here. We're just gonna hit these spots and just see what we got going on here. We'll take a deeper dive, of course, a little bit later on in the summer, where we'll actually do our win-loss picks and what we normally do like around July and August when we see what our roster is actually going to officially look like. But of course, starting off the Hall of Fame game, I'm just going to motor through the preseason real quick. Hall of Fame game, we're actually opening up the NFL season Thursday, August the 6th in Canton, Ohio against Arizona. It's an 8 p.m. kickoff live from Canton from the Hall of Fame ceremony. Of course, we've got a lot to celebrate this year. Luke Kuechly getting into the Hall of Fame. So we'll have a lot of Panthers up in Northern Ohio for the Hall of Fame game. Preseason game number 1, Saturday, August 15th at Buffalo. Number 2 is Friday, August 21st at Jacksonville. And then we have one home preseason game Friday, August 28th at home versus Houston. Let me just go ahead and get to the nuts and bolts of the regular season. I'm going to do it in 4-week intervals. And Stu, I just want you to give me your thoughts on each one of these little bits here. Week 1, Sunday night versus the Bears. I think it was a Sunday night game, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's a 1 p.m. game. Sunday, September 13th at home, hosting Chicago. Week 2, Sunday, September 20th at Atlanta. Week 3, Sunday, September 27th at Cleveland. And then week 4, Sunday, October 4th, Sunday night football on NBC versus the Detroit Lions. Thoughts on this first 4-game stretch? Start off at home, then on the road for 2 games, and then you've got Detroit on Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, out the gate, the one of the best games out the gate of the year, in my opinion, will be week 1 versus the Chicago Bears. We've had so much talks along the lines of who the Chicago Bears and who we are as far as the draft capital and all those things, as far as like the proof of concept of, did we waste our picks and did we give away too much? Well, we're going to be able to see now, right? Because the last time we played the Chicago Bears, it didn't end up well for us. We showed flashes in the pan, but Chicago Bears trumped us. All right. So the home opener there with Caleb Williams is going to be Caleb Williams versus Bryce Young, QB1 redraft narrative game. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very winnable game, winnable spot, especially the first game of the year. A lot of guys are going to still be figuring out who they are as a team, and I like where we are, man. We made some really good additions this offseason, but we still have a nucleus as far as who we are. You still got Derek Brown. You still got J.C. Horn. You still got the pillars that are going to move this thing forward. You look at the offensive side of the ball. You still got Robert Hunt's going to be back. You have Chuba Hubbard. You have guys that can carry that DNA into week 1, and that's going to be a very fun game. Hopefully they, start the season off 1-0.
I forgot to mention on FanDuel right now, you can go over and place futures on who will make the Super Bowl. The Panthers are at plus 6,500 right now, meaning, if I'm not mistaken, if you bet $10 on the Panthers to make the Super Bowl, you'd win $650. Is that right? Or is it $65? I don't know.
If you bet $100, you win $65.
Yeah, so you can go over there right now. Those odds will probably change now as the schedule's out, and they'll change even more as the rosters start to get more flushed out as we get closer and closer to minicamp at the end of July. Out of those 4, I am interested in that opening week against Chicago because, to your point, Stu, this is the first year really of the Dave Canales regime where I feel like we're not going into a season naive. Like, we're not going with a bunch of really, really young guys that have never been there. Like, we've got guys that 2-year, 3-year vets that have done this before in Carolina. So under Dave Canales and Dan Morgan. So I feel like, and I said this before, we got to start off hot, especially at home. We haven't been at home for a home opener, I think, in like 3 years. We've been on the road the past couple of season openers. So I think this is a crucial game for us to start off with. And then you got a division game right behind that on the road at Atlanta. So it's crucial to get off to a good start. I think that Cleveland game at Cleveland is winnable. We might see Deshaun Watson at quarterback. The way they're talking, it sounds like he might be the starter.
Yeah.
He's only 30.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how young he is. Yeah, so we'll
I hope for the best for him. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully he's not who we hope him not to be.
I mean, last time we saw great Deshaun Watson was pre-COVID, like 2019. Now it's in Houston, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do with them there. Week 5 is a bye week, so we got it really late last year. We get it really early this year in week 5. Week 6 at Philly,
which we're gonna need, right? Because think about it, we're gonna go through Bears first game of the year. You're gonna be all your juices are gonna be flowing. Hopefully, you come out of that game unscathed. Then you got Falcons. You go in there, you handle business, man, you're in smooth sailing. You go and play an AFC game. All right, it's AFC. We can test who we are against an AFC team. But then, though, you got the Detroit Lions. Okay, you talk about a tough schedule. Like where's the hard parts in our schedule? This game is one of those, right? Because we know what the DNA they try to carry. So they're going to come in here, try to run the ball. They're going to try to come in there and be tougher than you. This is going to be one of those games where we can be able to see exactly where we are as an offense, exactly where we are as a defense. I think the comparison game, like where are we amongst our peers in the NFL, and we'll really be able to see exactly who we are.
Yeah, and I think the Panthers are still in that weird gray area where some national pundits are it feels like a lot of national pundits are kind of looking at the odds and like, did people forget what the Panthers did last year? Because it's like, I think they've got us picked for like 6.5 wins. So it'd be regression, even though everyone agrees that the Panthers knocked out the free agency period and the draft. So I'm not quite sure what people are seeing. I just don't want to believe it until it actually happens. The second little bit after the bye week.
This is good, though. The Carolina Panthers have always done well when they were underdogs.
Yes, I don't want them to be picking us winning 14 games or whatever. Let us slip on the radar and do our thing. And by the time we get to week 9, then y'all can take notice of what we're doing. But after week 5, you got a little stretch here that looks hard. Sunday, October the 18th at Philly. That's a 1 o'clock game.
Sunday, we'll be refreshed though after that bye week. I know the bye week. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
People might be, juggling the idea of like, man, we should have a middle of the season bye week. But remember last year, we got dinged up pretty early, and just so having a bye week early in the season just gives you a reset, especially after those first 4 games. Those first 4 games really give you a detection of, do we have what it takes? Is our game plan matching with the depth chart? Are the guys understanding the playbook? Are the new guys being able to mesh well with this locker room? You're going to figure out all those types of things the first 4 games of the season, just like everybody else. But then you're going to be able to have a reset, which means you're going to have an extra week of preparation, being able to, when you go through bye weeks, you're going to go through and you're going to self-scout a lot, right? So it gives this team an opportunity in a very pivotal point in the season to say, okay, this isn't working, this is working. And we're going to see some very bold moves during going into that Philly game, I believe, as far as, depth chart moves, whatever it takes to really nail down their game plans. So I look at Philly as, the adjuster game.
That's a good point that you make about the bye being in week 5, because people think it's early, and I did too. And I started thinking about it though. Actually, we have a longer preseason than everybody else because we're playing that Hall of Fame game. So if you really add in those 4 weeks of the preseason, that means that they're actually getting a bye about halfway through, because he's really playing like 23 weeks of football. So you're getting week 10 of 23 is when your bye's coming in. So if you're considering the whole time they're playing, it's kind of closer to the middle of where they're supposed to be. So it's actually a good spot to have it in instead of having to wait long like we did last year, especially with the gauntlet they have right after the bye. Sunday, October 18th at Philly, 1 o'clock kickoff. Sunday, October 25th at home versus Tampa Bay. That is a 1 p.m. kickoff. Then you have a short turnaround. Thursday, October 29th, a primetime game on Amazon Prime at Green Bay, 8:15 p.m., followed by a Sunday, November 8th, home game versus the Denver Broncos. So you've got at Philly, home versus Tampa, at Green Bay, home versus Denver. All four of those teams made the playoffs last year. Denver was in the AFC Championship game. No, Philly was not. But yeah, Denver got all the way to and actually, to be honest, Denver probably didn't make the Super Bowl because they had that game at home.
Yeah,
the storm that came in. So
that winter storm.
Yeah, craziness in the fourth quarter.
Elsa came to Denver and froze the place.
Yeah, for real. Now Bo Nix is hurt. We don't know if he'll be back by then, but that's week 7, 8, 9, 10. That's week 10 of the season. So pretty sure we're probably going to see Bo Nix by then. And Denver's defense was one of the top ones in the league last year. Thoughts on that 4-game stretch right there?
Yeah, I think Philly's the toughest one out of all those, right? The reigning conference power, regardless of what happened last year, they still carry, confidence about them. Because in recent time they were the most confident team in all of football, Super Bowl champs. And so coming off of that, coming off of our bye, that's obviously still going to be a test. But I think we'll be able to figure out how to surprise people. If we're still underdogs during that time of the season, more power to us. But I think it's definitely a brutal first test. As far as matchups being made, you still got Jalen Hurts, he's still a dog. You got Saquon Barkley. You got a defensive line that's that doesn't have Jalen Phillips because we have him, but they obviously still have some star power there on defense. So you can never overlook the Philadelphia Eagles. But looking at that Tampa Bay game, coming off of that Philly game, the more important game out of those two is finding that momentum at home. You got to protect home because going into that game, you would then be at your second home game. Okay, it means you've been on a road, stretching the road. Or no, that'll be your third home game, right? Chicago, Detroit,
yeah, and then Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa. So just continue that home record, man, and then Green Bay. It's a quick turnaround. So hopefully you're looking at, a lot of game management that you're going to be up against. If you're the GM, if you're the coaching staff, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to be, use your guys on the roster so that way they can still be competitive as a unit and not be banged up going into a quick turnaround on a Thursday night football game.
Yeah. And I will say that kind of acts like a mini bye because then you get a couple extra days after that Thursday night game is over and it's at home. So once you go to that Thursday night game.
It's away.
The Sunday game is the following week is at home. So you against Denver. So you get an extra couple of days to get rested up. The Denver game is a 1 p.m. kickoff, which I like. We do not fare well at 4 o'clock kickoffs for some reason. 1 o'clock seems to be our sweet spot no matter who the coach is. It feels like 1 o'clock is when we play our best Panther football. So you got that November 8th versus Denver, week 9. Week 10, Sunday, November 15th at New Orleans. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff. They're playing the AFC North and the NFC North this year. So week 11, Sunday, November 22nd, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens come to town. It's a 1 p.m. kickoff. Monday, November the 30th, week 12 at Tampa Bay. And then week 13, Sunday, December the 6th at Minnesota. I assume Kyler Murray will be the starting quarterback at that point for the Vikings. I'm looking at this and I was thinking if there ever had to be a year where we had to play the AFC North, it's probably this one because Baltimore and Pittsburgh are both going through new head coaches for the first time in like a millennia or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like either one of them don't know what this is like. So we've never seen Lamar Jackson without a Harbaugh coaching them. We've never seen feels like we've never seen Pittsburgh without Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, period.
Just there. So
we don't even know. But they might have to change their names to a different football team with new coaching staff.
I can't wait to see Mike Tomlin on TV flaming the Steelers.
Just going in on them. Like, I told you this would happen. These boys soft as pillows since I left.
Thoughts on that stretch there because that's hard too. At New Orleans is always a tough game. You can attest to that. Home versus Baltimore, and then it's 3 out of 4 on the road. At New Orleans, home versus Baltimore. At Tampa, at Minnesota.
Yeah, again, I look at these AFC games as a stress tester. right? Like how are we against the other side, right? The dark side. The Baltimore Ravens, they still got Lamar Jackson. And hopefully this is not a game where he figures it out for himself and his team and his squad, because he's going to always be a problem if he's on the field. But the game out of that stretch that I'm more worried about is the Saints. Saints at home. That for whatever reason, the Saints have been the pillar of destruction. They've been the team that, for whatever reason, we might come out with a guy nicked up, or we come around with a tough loss because of some crazy penalty or something stupid the last several years. But this is a game to me at home that you have to win, because now you're coming up on a stretch where you get a chance to have, we'll go through it, but you're going to have 4 of the last 5 games at home. So you have to win those games, man. And it starts with the Saints.
And that's always a tough game. Actually, the Saints surprised a lot of us last year, where it was us and I think it was us and the Bucks at the end of the year, and neither one of us really wanted to win the division. We were trying to figure out ways to not do it, and New Orleans was just beating everybody in the division the last quarter of the season. And
they've been doing it. So and he's a good player. They've got a new running back in town, and ETN. So the ETN brothers will be able to see each other from time to time more often.
Did they cut Kamara? Kamara's not there anymore, right?
He's still there. I'm not sure if they're going to or not.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
that's Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, for real. You talk about the Saints as a Panthers fan, I'm thinking Alvin Kamara is going to run up our back for 100 yards. He's going to figure out a way. I know he's getting longer in the tooth now, but he's still very, very serviceable for a Saints team that finally caught up to the can. They've been kicking down the road. We've joked feels like the entire time this podcast has existed that the Saints should be in salary cap hell at some point, just for the way they had handled contracts and never caught up to them. And now they're getting older. They're the oldest team in the division, and we'll see how they do. But we'll see them. What was that date?
We'll see them December 13th at Carolina Panthers.
That's the second one there. So after at Minnesota, that last stretch there, you were right, Stu. 4 of our last 5 are at home. So if we can get through the first half or so of the season upright, it sets up for a pretty nice stretch here in December. Sunday, December 13th. Home versus New Orleans, the Saints. That is a 1 p.m. kickoff. Sunday, December 20th, home versus Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, who have become a darling of the national media for some reason. I'm like, I don't remember them doing anything to fix the defense, but hey, I guess they can have shootouts every week with Burrow, 1 p.m. And then to be determined at Pittsburgh, week 16. That game may get flexed depending on what Pittsburgh and Carolina are doing. That game might get flexed to a night game. So we might have 4 night games. We might have 5, actually.
To be honest, bro, we're going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers. People are going to want to see them. We're going to have the Bengals. People are going to want to see them if they hot. But more importantly, these last 2 games of the season, these are the top. So if I had to go top 3 games of the year, I'm going Chicago Bears, number 1.
Okay.
And then I'm going the Seahawks, number 2. And I'm going to Atlanta Falcons, number 3.
The first game and the last 2.
Last 2 games. Because that's going to be the one. Those are the 2 games that people are going to be tuned into with playoff atmosphere, with the mindset of, okay, we got to have it. Where are we at? And they're not just like rollover games. This is the defending Super Bowl champs coming into Charlotte. Yeah. Charlotte's the fastest growing city in all of the U.S.
That's Sunday, January 3rd. That's a 1 p.m. kickoff, and you're right. Seattle's got to come across country to us and play a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah.
You're on the West Coast right now in L.A. It's 7 something in the morning out there, so it's like a 3-hour time difference.
They might, and you want to know something? They might bump that game. You know why? Because it's the Super Bowl chance. They need an extra. A couple hours of rest.
You know what? You're right, because they did do that the past couple of years, where it might be a 1 o'clock game and they shift it to 4 o'clock to be in that 4 o'clock window. Especially if Seattle's playing well and Carolina's not, or vice versa, they might shift it to 4 just so more eyeballs are on that game. Because you can only shift them into prime time a couple of times for the rules. And then to be determined, the last week of the season, Atlanta. They don't know what day it's going to be on. They don't know what time it's going to be, just like the Pittsburgh game 2 weeks prior, where they can shift it to Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football. Like, you just don't know. So now, of course, that last week, week 18, there is no Monday night football. So somewhere in there, that might be for the division. I'm sitting there looking at the division, and I'm thinking Tampa's probably run their course at this point. We'll see what they do, but I'm kind of looking at Carolina and Atlanta, the two teams that are like the youngest up and coming teams, guys in skill positions that are young and highly drafted. And we'll see. But yeah, I'm sitting there looking through these. If I had to pick three, and we'll do this again in just a bit, but I'm probably leaning to what you just said. Chicago week 1, because I think it's so crucial for us to start off with a victory week 1. Like
home game.
Home game. It's going to be
Period.
Charlotte. Everybody remember what previously at Bank of America Stadium, the last time we were there. Like, I feel like coming into
that energy was amazing. You got to match that.
Excited. Yeah, we got to get back to that for the first week, because I think that really carried that team during that game. We had no business being in that game, but just that atmosphere, it just took a life of its own. And just sitting here remembering, damn, we were like a minute and 40 seconds away from beating the Rams, like at home. Like,
and then possibly getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because who knows what would happen after that. So I mean, I'm excited. Now, again, it is May, so we will temper expectations for now, but they will build over the summer as we continue to look at this. We typically go through it and do a win-loss thing. We'll save that for an episode later on once we get into like late July or whatnot. But thoughts on the difficulty of this schedule before we get out of here? You think this is again, NFC North, well, not NFC, AFC North? If we had to play them, this is the year to play them. With Baltimore and Pittsburgh going through coaching changes, I feel like you can kind of catch them. The NFC North is interesting because didn't they have like 3 teams with double-digit wins last year?
Yeah.
No, Minnesota didn't. Did they? Green Bay, Chicago. Who won that division last year?
So AFC.
No. What's it? Who won the NFC North last year?
NFC North.
Yeah.
Was the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears won it. They were 11-6.
Yeah, the Vikings dropped back a little bit. Detroit had some injuries earlier on in the year. That's something to mention when we got Detroit week 4. Aiden Hutchinson got hurt like week 1 or week 2 of the season last year, and they didn't have like their best defensive player. He's back, so we'll see him week 4. And Detroit's always a good time. That's a night game again. That's a Sunday night.
We just got a brand new offensive tackle, man. So we're gonna be all right. We just got us a nice little 3-4-3. We got a nice little 3-4-3-50. On the offensive line now. So, dude, I think we got some firepower for that.
Yeah, we might start 2 rookies on the offensive line this year, and I'm perfectly fine
with it. I'm with it. If they're the best guys, then they gonna start.
Let's go. 10 years out. Have them on the line, let them roll. I feel pretty good about what we got here. Again, the preseason, they've got an extra preseason game because they're playing the Hall of Fame game. The flex scheduling rules. Okay, so they got those 2 games the last 3 weeks of the season. It says this year, flexible scheduling for Sunday night football may be used up to twice between weeks 5 and 10, and in the NFL's discretion during weeks 11 through 17, meaning, hey, if we see something nice going on, we're just gonna keep putting them in Sunday night football. Like Yanko stops. For Thursday night football, maybe used up to twice between weeks 13 and 17. During the flex scheduling windows, the games initially scheduled for Sunday night football, Monday night football, and Thursday night football are tentatively scheduled and subject to change. Only Sunday afternoon games are eligible to be moved to Sunday night, Monday night, or Thursday night, in which case the initially scheduled Thursday, Sunday, Monday game would be moved to Sunday afternoon. So say something happens and Green Bay completely bottoms out before we even get to that Thursday night game and they decide to switch it around. Actually, I don't think they can. They can't switch it until week 13. So yeah, everything's locked in. So we are going to play Thursday night versus Green Bay. They can't start switching around until after week 13 for that game. They can also move them from 1 to 4 or 1 to 4:25 on Sunday too, like we mentioned before. And week 18, 3 games will be played on Saturday. The remainder will be played on Sunday. So they could move us. Actually, that's what it sounds like. They're going to put one of those games week 3 or the last 3 weeks of the season. One of those games will get moved to Saturday. Like I said, because they're going 1 o'clock, 4:30, and 8 p.m. Saturday night. So yeah, I could see that happening. The remainder played on Sunday.
Gotta have it, man. The NFL schedule here, like I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. Boy, if the Kansas City Chiefs are good next year, man,
they got a little stretch in the middle somewhere where they got to play like the Bills and
they
like
got to play. They probably got the hardest schedule out there right now.
I'm wondering
Especially considering where Patrick Mahomes is.
I heard he was way ahead of schedule is what I heard. Now that could just be Kansas City blowing smoke and scaring everybody, but
they got to do what they got to do to stay competitive, man.
So man, if Kansas City comes back and they're just like 14-3 and like just picked right back up where they left off, I'm just gonna throw my hands up.
Them poor Dolphins about to be terrible, but they might not win a game.
I saw that people were saying the Pats might not make it back to the playoffs. But at least they got 4 wins. They're going to win the Jets twice. They're going to beat the Dolphins twice. But after that, we don't know because they got like one of the hardest schedules in the league. So
yeah, man, we gonna really see because last year they were saying they ain't play nobody, but this year
they playing everybody.
Everybody gonna get a piece of that.
They got a first place schedule just like we do now. At our schedule, there's only 3 different teams that we're playing this year that we didn't play the year before, basically. So it's not that much difficult. But the Patriots are playing a much more schedule.
I feel like really, man, if you look at where the Carolina Panthers have been in the last couple of years, like structurally, this is a little bit of a gift. You got 3 primetime games. We ain't had that since Cam Newton. Okay,
2016. I think it's the last time we had more than 3. Yeah.
So you got Lions Sunday Night Football, Packers Thursday Night Football. You got the prime with the Bucks, man. You know what you got to do with the prime. You got to go out there and show out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think, and then also too, you got the closing home game stretch, like with opponents that you have to come away with victories. This is in our like if we stay healthy. Like we have a really good edge as far as like this schedule thing. I think our schedule is very favorable. We get ourselves a chance to really be put on a national spotlight against really good teams. And there's really no chance to have a rollover. Like if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And whenever you go into a game, I look at that Rams game last year where we came away victorious. What that did for the Carolina Panthers in this program, it boosted their confidence. It boosted who they were amongst their peers. So if you go into this schedule and you look at these teams and you look at the matchups and the scheduling, you got to think to yourself, this is an opportunity to boost who we are. That's the biggest thing that I see about this as far as the growth of Charlotte, the opportunity that they have for the Carolinas as a whole. You get to go into this NFL football season and be able to have some realistic wins, in my opinion, especially with how the roster's been built this offseason. I think, the Philly-Baltimore stretch there, that's going to be a little tough one, just kind of staying in it because that's just kind of how it goes during a football season where you might have a little role. Like the biggest thing is, like I said, we start off with the Chicago Bears. We can figure out to win 3 of those first 4 games. That's huge. And then those last 5, win 4 of them last 5.
Sets up nice. It sets up, and we don't have any. I think there's only one stretch where we are on the road back to back or at home back to back. So it's like home road. But for most of the season, which is good, the bye week is week 5, which again is week 10 of a 23-week season counting our preseason. So I'm okay with that. To me, this is the make or break season for Bryce Young. Like, yes, he is our starter. Yes, he's got his 5th-year extension. He's going to be here this year and next year. But the whole question this year is going to be about, should he get his extension? Should he get that $275 million first-time extension? And he hasn't had a year yet where there's been more good than bad. It's either been more bad than good or up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like he might go out one week and break the passing record for the Panthers, 500 yards throwing. Then the next week come back and throw for 108 yards. And it's like, we can't figure it out. He has to be consistent like every week, and I think he will be.
And I think there'll be a little bit more consistency too with play calling, right? Because I think Canales handing over the duties of play calling. Now he can just be a head coach, and the play caller can just be all hands on deck for making sure that the rhythm of the games and the flow of the games are intact.
This will be the most weapons that Bryce Young has at his disposal as a pro too, with them adding yet another receiver in Chris Brazzell III, who I heard showed out during rookie minicamp last weekend.
Listen, we're gonna calm all this down, by the way. You know,
about
you
the
go on.
Canton thing. They're not playing with anybody, right?
They going on air, man. They supposed to run routes crisp. They supposed to catch the ball on
that's
air.
why you got drafted.
They supposed to look like football players, man. Like, guys, look. Like it just blows my mind when I see people like, oh man, he's gonna be elite.
Really good.
It's like, oh man, you really think so? You must got the magic ball. If you do, let us know what's going on in this world.
I'll probably look good running around a cone by myself. Like,
Yeah,
put somebody on me.
what you like 6'2"? You 6'3", 6'2"?
6'1", 6'2". Yeah,
Yeah, boy. Yeah,
I'm
you
not in
look
shape, but yeah.
like, man, that boy look like a tight end.
So we'll temper all that. And then again, we'll get back into the schedule and everything here in a little bit, and we'll kind of do our win-loss thing like we usually do. And we'll look around the league also and look at other schedules and see who's got tough schedules, especially in the NFC South. I wanted to start bringing in other Believe NFC South hosts probably about a month or so when we come back from break. And just kind of gauge where they think they are and their schedule and everything else. And we'll get to all that and more too. So I think we're going to stop it right there. Again, brought to you by FanDuel. The Panthers schedule is out. We've got our times. We got 3 primetime games with the possibility of 2 more. Could get flexed down in some late afternoon games or stuff. It just feels good that people are recognizing that the Panthers might be a problem. Like they may have a situation going on in Charlotte, and it's palatable. Like you want to be a part of it. And I love what Dave Canales and Dan Morgan are building. It feels like it's being built the right way, and it feels sustainable. It feels like it's not a house of cards. Like the foundation's getting built. It's getting built in a way that maybe hadn't been built here in, I don't know, 10 years, 12 years. So it's good to see. Any final thoughts?
I'm excited, man, because look, week 1, you get a meaningful game with Chicago Bears. You're gonna have all your emotions ready to go. Go out there, beat them, throw them in the dirt. Week 17, get to play the defending champs. And you go in there, you beat them, knock them in the dirt, show them who they are. Jonathan Brooks, I expect to be at full gear. We're going to be looking at him this year. I'm really excited for that young man. I'm going to talk about Jonathan Brooks every episode, just by the way.
I hope so.
Good. And then the NFL gifted the Carolina Panther fans at Bank of America Stadium with a closeout of the regular season, week 18, with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Bro, that is a party, okay?
Yeah.
This is what football's all about. And you get a chance to have a home game at the end of the regular season, man.
Vision might be on the line. Like, I mean,
it's gonna be so much going on, man. So this is gonna be a fun year. I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so there you have it. So Believe in Panthers brought to you by the fine folks over at FanDuel and the Believe Podcast Networks. Catch us on all major podcast platforms and make sure you rate, like, and subscribe the Believe Podcast Network. We'll see you guys here soon. Keep pounding. Okay. All right. Believe in Panthers here. Desmond Johnson, Jonathan Stewart, the Panthers all-time leading rusher in the house. Panthers schedule out right now. And Stu, give me your big 3 after we look at this schedule. Give me the 3 biggest games on the Panthers schedule this year in terms of what we're seeing right now.
Right now, man, I'm gonna just go with the week 1 out the gate. Chicago Bears home opener. It's a home game. You got to protect the house. You got to protect Bank of America Stadium. Caleb Williams versus Bryce Young in a QB1 redraft, basically, right? So it's a very winnable game. It's an opportunity to start the season off fresh with a 1-0 right in front of your home crowd, man. The energy of the game should be at an all-time high. And then I got week 18 versus Atlanta, okay? Division opponent. You get to close out the season at home. Home. As you can see the trend, the most of my top 3 best games, the most fun games for a Panther fan to watch are going to be home games. So Atlanta Falcons coming to our house, protect the house, kick them out of your house, and continue to defend that NFC South championship that you had last year. So then the last game on this list, week 17 versus the Seattle Seahawks, the defending Super Bowl champs. That has to be one of the most fun games to watch because you're going to be able to see exactly who the Panthers are as far as comparison towards the end of the season, right? At the end of the season, the strongest games, show themselves at the end. So I'm looking for Dave Canales to go in there with a great game plan and everybody be ready to go.
There you go. So week 1 versus Chicago at home. week 16 at home versus Seattle, and then week 18 at home versus Atlanta. So there you have it there from Believe in Panthers, our 3 biggest games for the 2026 season for the up and coming Carolina Panthers. Keep pounding.